Hey everybody, it's Flyin Ryan here with the review of the Syma X11C Air Cam. And if you saw my review of the original X11 with no camera, you'll know I was a huge fan of that. So I just had to try the camera version and see what differences it had and compare it to the original X11. It is the exact same hardware, so the motors are not any bigger. Like the Hubsan X4 camera version, they made bigger motors to kind of account for the extra weight. So that has not been the case here. So it is a little bit affected by the extra weight and its flight performance. However, they did give a little bit bigger battery. This comes with a 250 milliamp hour battery, where the X11 came with a 200 milliamp hour battery. So the flight times end up being the same. You get about 7-minute flights without the prop guard, or with the same prop guard the X11 had. You get 6.5-minute flights. If you've got the prop guard off and you're filming the whole time, you get 6.5-minute flights. So flight time is still the same because of the extra bigger battery. But again, it's just a little bit, heavier in the air, so like slower flip recovery and not quite as nimble, but it's still really stable, really quiet, flies really nice. It comes with a memory card. Let's see, yeah, it comes with a 4 GB memory card, and it is an HD camera, so nice, 2 megapixel 720 HD camera, so pretty good camera. That's pretty much the standard HD. And then it comes with a card reader and a spare set of props and a USB charging cable, and the battery takes about 40 minutes to charge. You still can use the bigger, the 380 milliamp hour or the 500 milliamp hour Hubsan batteries. With the 380, you get about 9 minutes and 25-second flights, which with the X11, you get about 11-minute flights. So quite a bit shorter. I think just, the extra weight during, that whole flight time just ends up taking quite a bit of flight time off. And with the 500, you get 9 minutes and 45 seconds. So not much longer than the 380. And the X11 got 13-minute flights with that 500 milliamp hour battery. So I think with the camera and the weight of the battery itself, it just ends up taking quite a bit of flight time off. So not as huge of an extra flight time with the bigger batteries with this one. Transmitter is still, the same old Syma style. However, this one is actually different than the X11 one, because these buttons over here work, where on the X11 they don't actually click. And these are your photo and video buttons. I forget exactly. I think it's up for photo and down for camera, or for video, but whatever. One of those is picture, one of those is video. So you do need to use this transmitter with the C if you want to operate the camera. You can operate it from the transmitter, as I just said, or it actually has a button on the quad itself as well. So if you click it, that takes a picture, which is kind of pointless if you're holding it, or press and hold it to start video. So that's kind of nice that you do have the two different options. You can fly the original X11 with this as well if you want, so you might as well just use this transmitter for both if you've got both. And in my X11 review, I said that you couldn't use the X5C transmitter, but I have since found out that you can actually use the new X5C-1. That's the upgraded and improved X5C. That transmitter does bind with this. So I have one of those on the way. I may do a flight video using that transmitter just as a proof of concept. So that would be pretty nice, because that's more of a hobby grade style with sticks, and you can better for pinchers and whatnot. So that's pretty exciting to hear that you can actually fly that with that transmitter. And that also means that you can fly it with a Deviation Devo hacked radio, which I'm sure is a nice upgrade as well. I've also found out that the X11, the original one, now has like 3 different reversions. So there's actually ones with faster yaw rates. So I'll eventually try to get my hands on one of those and get the one with the faster yaw rates and the X5C1 transmitter. So those two together, I think, would make this pretty much, one of my favorite micro quads. But the X5 or the X11C, the yaw rate seems to be the same as my X11. So I don't know if there's any different reversions of this yet, or if it's just the original slower yaw version. But for, being a camera quad, the yaw makes a little bit more sense. You don't really, want a super fast yaw on a camera quad. So it wasn't a big of a problem with this camera version for me. But otherwise, all my original comments from the original X11 still apply. It's got the geared drive, so nice and quiet and cool big props, but that makes them a little bit more brittle, more parts to break. If you crash it, you could break some gears and it'd be a little bit more complicated fix. So yeah, you got the two rates on the left stick, or the left bumper, and the right bumper you press and hold, and then move the right stick to do your flips. And the flips are a little bit slower on the recovery because of the extra weight. Oh, and the camera does record sound, but it's pretty, the motor noise like overdrives it, so it's just really nasty, ugly sounding sound while it's flying. But then when it's off, it's got pretty good recording, so if you wanted to talk to the camera for some reason or whatever, it does record well. But while it's flying, you just get a bunch of really awful rotor noise. I think that's about all. Oh, you can recalibrate it by putting both sticks down to the right. The LVC warning is even later on this. I think on the X11 you got about 5 seconds, but because of the extra weight on this, I think the LVC warning pretty much kicks in at the last second, and it just falls right when the LVC kicks on. So that's a little concerning, being a camera quad, you may be up high filming, and then all of a sudden your battery dies and it just loses power and kind of, quickly descends. So I wish Syma would get a little bit better with the LVC warning and give us more time to get it back to us. But, still the same thing. It's got the ARM internal LEDs and whatnot. So I'm not going to go ahead, I'm not going to do an indoor flight of this since it's going to be the same. You can see that in my X11 video. But I am going to go outside, do an outdoor flight, and some filming outdoors so I can show off the camera a little bit better. So let's go check that out. Alright, this is the outdoor flight of the Syma X11C, and my X5C1 just recently showed up, so I actually get to demo flying the X11 with the X5C1 transmitter. So this is a pretty cool combo there. I like that I can fly it with this. Much better transmitter for me. Alright, put it in high rates. And we got about a 5 or 6 mile an hour wind out, so a little bit of a breeze, but I found this thing to work pretty well in the wind. So we'll just kind of fly it for a minute just to show how it flies. It's a little bit affected by the weight of the camera, but it still flies really nice. It's really smooth and stable, just a little bit slower in responding to turns and changing directions, a little bit of a wobble here and there, but for the most part it flies really nice. Alright, let's go ahead and turn on the camera by hitting down throttle trim. Should be filming now. See if I can see the LED or not. Not really sure, but I think so. Being that it's so, or not so windy, but enough of a breeze out that I don't know what it's doing up high. I don't want to take this thing up too high and get it blown away. Pretty good video quality though, 2 megapixel HD. Get some flips on video there. Try to get a droney. A little cold winter flying droney. Man, this thing is just a really nice quad. I love flying this. The X11 and the X11C are both really nice. Alright, let's turn off the video. Oh, let fly away a little bit there. Still a little bit slow on the yaw rate, so can't get too fancy with it. You can fly really nice smooth circuits. Whoa, watch out for the trees. So you can see there, every once in a while it kind of gets a little wobble in it when you make quick turns because of the extra weight, but it still holds itself just fine. Alright, I think that was a good enough flight sample. Bring it in for landing. And there we go. It's the Syma X11C. And just like the X11, I like it a lot. This is one of my favorite micro quads. Very, very cool little quad. Alright, we'll check the video description for price and purchase links. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.